All right, here's the quiz from 7.4 through the beginning, the intro of Chapter 5. And you're going to do this quiz with me and then submit a PDF of it to the Google Classroom. So the first question is simplify into simplest radical form. So what we do with this is, I'm going to make sure my pen is working here. Oops. There we go. Now it's working. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to break this up into the square root of 16 and the square root of 5. 5 times 16 is 80. So 16 is the largest perfect square that divides into 80. And then the answer is 4 radical 5. The next one is going to split up into 3 square roots. -1 is one of them because you can't take the square root of the negative, so we factor that out. And then 25 goes into each of the, it goes into there evenly, and then 5 quarters makes $1.25. So you're taking out the largest perfect square, which is 25, and then the -1, of course. So this part right here is 5, and then we call this I, and then radical 5. So that's the answer to this one. Okay, now I'm going to add. Adding is easy, like terms. So we put together the like terms. And again, you can try these questions and write them down on a piece of paper. So you're going to write them down on a piece of paper and then do the questions. And you can try them ahead of time and then go through the answers and get feedback that way. So you could do the same thing with these ones up here. So you have the square root of 80, and then you could figure out how to write it in simplest radical form. Okay, so here's this one. Pause the video if you'd like, and then write it down and try it, and then see if you get it right. So this will get your feedback with this. Okay, so we're going to add together these parts right here, and that would be just 1. And then we're going to put together these parts, which would be 6. So it's 1 plus 6i. And that's the way we write complex numbers, a plus bi. With this one here, you need to distribute the negative. So a negative times the 3, or like -1 times 3 is -3. And then a minus times the minus right here is actually plus. So it's plus 5i. Drop this down, 7 minus 4i. Then we collect our like terms like we did before. So we're going to put this and this together to get 4. And then -4 and 5 is positive, minus 4 is 1, so it is plus I. So it's 4 plus I. Okay, multiplying is next. I didn't put a dividing one on there, so write this down and then try multiplying it. Use FOIL to multiply this out. So we go 2 times this would be 6. No, 2 times 4 is 8. What am I doing? That's a funky 8. I don't like that 8. I'm going to switch it. Make it a better 8. Okay, so 2 times 4 is 8, not 6. And then 2 times this here is 10, so it's plus 10i. And then this and this is 12i. And then this and this is plus 15i squared. So we put this together. 15i squared. So I squared is -1. I squared is -1. So that's one of the definitions we worked on. So -1 times the 15 means this is really -15. So -15 and the 8 go together to make -7. And then these are the like terms. 10 and 12 make 22. So it's -7 plus 22i. Okay, next page. So on this page we were simplifying the radical, adding, subtracting, multiplying. Okay, now we're going to do the quadratic formula, which is up here in this corner. Let's see. I'm going to move this, I guess, down over here. It's out of the way. I like to have it there so I can click on it. So there's a quadratic formula. The paper got, the square root part here got cut off. So if I click on this and move it down just a little bit, then I can put the square root back on there. So it should be over the square root. And there should be a little 2 right there. When I scan this in, it got cut off. Okay, so identify A. A is the number in front, which is 1. B is equal to -6. And C is equal to -8. All right. So we're putting this into the quadratic formula. The double negative with the b there means it's 6 plus or minus square root over 2a. So a is 1, so it's 2 times 1. Then it's b squared, so it's negative 6 and then squared. So a lot of times people put that in the calculator wrong. That's going to be a positive 36, and then minus 4 times a, which is 1, and then times c, which is negative 8. So this is positive 36 and then positive 32. Because the negative times the negative is that. So 36 and 32 make 68. So the answer is 6 plus or minus the square root of 68 over 2. Okay, now, what I've always done is split this up. Square root of 4, square root of 17. 4 times 17 is 68. So the one that I circled is a pretty decent answer, but we can make it a better answer by simplifying it more. So we're moving on here. So this would be equal to 6 plus or minus 2 square root of 17 over 2, because the square root of 4 is really 2. Now all of these are highlighter. All of these, I keep highlighting these in yellow. These are all divisible by 2, so I can divide them all by 2. Back to the pen tool. And so the answer would be 3 for this, and then plus or minus. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so I don't need the 1 there. Square root of 17 over 1. Or you don't need the 1 on the bottom. So this is the best answer. 3 plus or minus the square root of 17. Okay, quadratic formula again on this one. This one has an I in it, so that's why I put it on there. So A is 1, the number in front's 1. B is equal to 5. C is equal to 9. So here we go. X equals negative B. Oh, I don't want to write negative B. I want to write what B is. B is 5, so I'm going to put 5 in there. So we put in 5 plus or minus the square root of b squared, so it's 5 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 9, all over 2a, which would be 2 times 1. X equals negative 5 plus or minus square root. Okay, well that's 25 there, and that's 36. So it's 25 minus 36 is negative 11, all over 2a, which is 2. Red pen. I'm going to split this up into the square root of negative 1 and the square root of 11. So the final answer is negative 5. 11 is a prime number, so I can't break any square roots out of that. That's all I can do. So it's negative 5 plus or minus I square root of 11 over 2. And that's my final answer on that one. Okay, number 8, we're solving together with this system of equations. We're going to put the two equations together. So we did this on 4.9 worksheet. So if these are equal to y, then they're equal to each other. So I write x squared plus 5x plus 7 is equal to negative x minus 1. To solve a quadratic, we have to set it equal to 0. So we add x to each side to make this 0. So I add x's to x's. So I got to line this up. Some people try to put it underneath there. And then plus 1, plus 1. All right. Draw the line. The x squared doesn't have a partner. These would make 6. And I made this quadratic really super user-friendly. So this quadratic factors. This quadratic here actually factors. So I'm not going to do the quadratic formula. You could, but it's unnecessary. And then 2 and 4 equals 0. So 0 product property. x plus 2 is equal to 0. X plus 4 is equal to 0. All right, so we subtract the 2 over, and I get x is equal to negative 2. That's one x solution. And then x is equal to negative 4. That's the other x solution. So negative 2 and negative 4. But we need to know the coordinate point where these intersect with each other. So therefore, we got to put them back in. So I'm going to put the x's back in here. So the first thing I'm going to put in is negative 2. So it's negative 2 minus 1. So that's positive 2 minus 1 would be equal to 1. So my first coordinate point is negative 2, comma 1. So that's my first solution. Okay, then my next solution would be y is equal to, then my other answer was negative 4, right? So negative 4 goes back in. So it's negative 4 minus 1. Well, the double negative makes it 4. So then 4 minus 1 is 3. So my other solution is negative 4, comma 3. And that's the second solution. Okay, the last question here, I'm going to type into Geogebra and look for the maximum. So since you people are doing this without a graphing calculator, normally you type it into the graphing calculator. I'm going to type it into Geogebra and look for the maximum that way. I'm going to pause this just for a second. All right, for the last question, you need a graphing utility to find the extreme, and I chose to type it into Geogebra, and I can show you the result of this. It's really, really easy and pretty slick. It just kind of does it for you automatically. The calculator can be used any place on standardized tests, all that kind of stuff, where the computer, you can't do that. So it is important to know how to do this on a computer. So basically, I went to Geogebra, and I typed the equation in, y equals x cubed minus 6x squared plus 4x plus 7. So I just typed that in there, and then let me minimize this out of the way, and then it makes the function there, and then you just click on it, and these points are automatically there. So here's the roots, 1, 2, 3, that's where it crosses the x-axis, and then that's where it crosses the y-axis, and then there's the relative maximum, the relative minimum. If you want to know what that point is, you can click on it. So you just click right there. So the extreme is 0.73 and 7.71. That's the extremum, which is the relative maximum. So we just write those down, and you are done with that part. So the extrema is at 0.37, comma 7.71. And basically you're just looking for that high point on the graph. So it goes up and then back down and then back up again. You're looking for this point right there on the graph, which is seen right there. All right. And if you want the other points, they're easy to click on too. So then there's the root here, the root there, and then there's the other root. So this is pretty slick how this all works. All right, that would be the whole quiz. Let me bring this up and stop it, and then you're going to put all that on paper, and you're going to submit it to me on Google Classroom in a PDF form, like I've taught you how to do.